Have you ever felt that delicate stirring inside you? A quiet whisper that said, "Not this path," or "Say yes now," long before your mind could explain why? A sudden heaviness in your chest when someone wasn't safe to trust. A gentle pull guiding your feet toward another direction. Only later did you realize how much that single nudge mattered. Most dismiss these moments as random moods, fleeting emotions, or irrational impulses. But what if they weren't accidents at all? What if they were the first language of the quantum field itself, revealing to you a reality already beginning to take shape? We've been taught that life is logical, predictable, step by step. We plan. We weigh pros and cons. We calculate and then decide. Yet quantum science shows something startling. Information can reach you before the event even happens. Consciousness is not bound by linear time. Researchers call this presentiment. Your body's ability to feel the future before your mind catches up. Your heart, your nervous system, even your gut sense these ripples first. That soft inner signal you often ignore is nothing less than a preview of your future. Imagine tuning into a radio station. At first you hear static, then fragments of melody, until suddenly the song becomes clear. Intuition is that static turning into music. It is your awareness glimpsing the frequency you are about to collapse into reality. The tragedy is most people never trust the static. They override it with logic. They bury it under overthinking. They silence it by demanding proof. But the field never speaks in proof. It speaks in resonance. And resonance always arrives as a feeling. That is why intuition whispers rather than shouts. It doesn't argue, it invites. It doesn't overwhelm, it gently points the way. Look back at the turning points of your life. You'll see that your very first signal was almost always right. That flicker in your gut, that sudden inner yes or no, it was guiding you long before reasoning caught up. But so often people only trust in hindsight. They say, "I knew it, I should have listened." By then the future has already unfolded. So what would your life look like if you trusted that first signal? If you step forward without waiting for proof? Quantum manifestation doesn't begin when you choose. It begins in the instant before choice, in that microsecond where the field reveals two timelines and one quietly calls your name. Ignore it and you remain in the old reality. Trust it and you step into the new. That is the secret pulse behind synchronicity. These moments are not coincidences. They are the markers of reality collapsing into form. And yet the paradox is this: intuition feels too simple to be believed. The mind demands plans and guarantees, but the universe does not deal in guarantees. It works through alignment. The mind speaks in complexity. The field speaks in simplicity. And intuition is that simplicity embodied. One signal, one nudge, one quiet yes. Ignore it and you fall out of sync. Follow it and you enter resonance. This is why so many struggle with manifestation. They chase rituals, affirmations, endless techniques, forgetting the first doorway always arrives as a whisper. The whisper is the alignment. The whisper is the opening. When you learn to hear it, trust it, and move with it, you collapse into realities faster than logic can ever predict. Logic will always be late to the party. By the time the mind understands, your energy has already shifted the field. So the question isn't whether the quantum field is speaking, it always is. The real question is, are you listening? That subtle awareness you brushed aside this week, that gut pull you ignored, that quiet yes or no you discounted, that was the field signaling you. It was a preview of the life already waiting for you. The more you notice, the louder it becomes, until eventually your entire existence turns into a symphony of synchronicities guiding you, without struggle, without confusion, without fear. This is where our journey begins, because in the next step, I will show you why your intuition is not imagination at all. It is your quantum compass. For centuries, it was dismissed as superstition, as weakness, as something dangerous to follow. But now science is proving otherwise. Today, science is finally touching the edges of what mystics and shamans have always carried in silence. The body feels the future before the mind can explain it. This is no longer philosophy. It is physics, biology, and neuroscience converging to unveil the hidden fabric of reality. Take the pioneering work of Dean Radin at the Institute of Noetic Sciences. In his studies on presentiment, participants were shown images, some calm, some deeply disturbing. The astonishing part, before the disturbing images appeared, their nervous systems had already reacted. Heart rates jumped, sweat glands activated, brain waves shifted. The body had whispered the future a few seconds in advance. The statistics were undeniable. Radin concluded, consciousness is not confined to the present, it stretches forward into time. At the HeartMath Institute, researchers uncovered something even more startling. In controlled experiments, the heart reacted before the brain did. The heart sensed the future first, then signaled the brain and body to follow. This turned the old model upside down. You are not just thinking with your head. You are thinking with your whole electromagnetic field. The heart is not merely a pump. It is a transmitter and receiver, radiating signals into the quantum field. Dr. Joe Dispenza's work takes this even further. In Becoming Supernatural, he shows that when the brain and heart align in coherence, they create a measurable electromagnetic signature. When thoughts, feelings, and body move together, you are not just at peace. You are broadcasting a frequency that reorganizes matter itself. In his workshops, people entering this state have reported spontaneous healings, profound synchronicities, and transformations that science is only beginning to understand. The truth is revolutionary. Your state of being is the very signal collapsing your future into form. Quantum physics already hinted at this in the famous double-slit experiment, where particles behave differently simply because they were observed. But the real shift does not occur in the mechanical act of looking. It happens the instant awareness aligns with possibility. Intuition is that pre-observation moment, the inner resonance that bends probability into reality. This is why intuition has always been honored across spiritual traditions. Indigenous elders spoke of the small inner voice. Neville Goddard taught that assumption births reality, that the first feeling is the truth. Even Einstein, a man of science, confessed, the intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is its faithful servant. We have built a society that worships the servant and has forgotten the gift. He sensed what modern physics would eventually confirm. Intuition is not fantasy. It is function. It is physics. And yet here lies the paradox. Our culture still trains us to distrust intuition. We dismiss it as irrational, unscientific, unreliable. We demand evidence. We crave guarantees. But now science itself is echoing what the whispers have always said. The field does not wait for logic. It responds at the speed of resonance. And your intuition is the first responder. There is a part of you that already knows where energy is moving. Imagine this. Each time you dismiss your intuition, you are quietly stepping away from the timeline you long for. Each time you override that first spark of knowing, you are telling the field, I don't trust the signal. And the field answers back, reflecting doubt instead of clarity. But the moment you honor the nudge, the instant you whisper yes before the mind explains why, you declare, I trust, I am aligned. That one act of trust reshapes the future itself. This is why simplicity matters. Intuition never wears the clothes of complexity. It does not hand you spreadsheets or a 5-step plan. It comes as a flicker, a pull, a soft knowing. It bypasses the noise of thought. And once you recognize its frequency, life becomes less about forcing or chasing and more about attuning to the deepest rhythm of the universe. The truth is, you do not need to develop intuition. You already have it. What you must unlearn is the habit of ignoring it. The whispers have always been present. The field has always been speaking. The only question is, are you quiet enough to listen? Your body is the receiver of these whispers, and your nervous system is the antenna. It is through this living instrument that you decode, translate, and embody the signals of the field. And here lies the great discovery of modern science. The nervous system is not just reacting to reality, it is shaping it. Consider what your nervous system governs. Your heartbeat, your breath, your hormones, your immune defenses. It is the bridge between your mind and your body. And more than that, the interface between your inner world and the outer field. When this system is chaotic, stressed, trapped in survival, it sends incoherent messages into the field. Dr. Joe Dispenza's research reveals that incoherence fractures reality itself. You think one thing, feel another, and your body responds as though danger is everywhere. In survival, higher frequencies remain out of reach. Now notice what happens when coherence returns. HeartMath researchers found that your heart's electromagnetic field is 60 times stronger than the brain's, extending several feet around you. This field shifts depending on whether your nervous system is tense or balanced. When you are calm and regulated, your heart field becomes ordered, radiant, expansive. It stabilizes not only your body, but subtly influences those nearby. You are not just a receiver, you are a transmitter. Quantum physics offers us the metaphor of entanglement. When two particles connect, any change in one instantly affects the other, no matter the distance. Imagine your nervous system as one half of that pair, and the quantum field as the other. The moment you move from fear into coherence, the field responds in kind. Inner balance becomes outer synchronicity. This is why miracles often follow deep meditation. As the nervous system settles into harmony, your energetic broadcast shifts, and the field reorganizes around you. Neuroscience calls this neuroplasticity. The brain rewires itself through repeated states. If you live in stress, your brain builds pathways expecting danger, and that expectation becomes the lens shaping your reality. But when you train your nervous system through breath, meditation, stillness, you rewire toward openness. You begin to expect goodness. An expectation, in truth, is resonance. So goodness begins to arrive. This is why the ancients always called the body a temple. Yogis practice pranayama not as exercise, but as mastery of energy. Mystics in every tradition turn to breath, to silence, to chant, to ritual, not as ornament, but as tools to regulate the nervous system, to keep the antenna clear, so the signal of the divine could flow. They always knew a chaotic body cannot hold a coherent spirit. What the ancients spoke in metaphor, science now measures in data: vagus nerve regulation, heart rate variability, gamma brainwaves, all pointing to one truth. When your nervous system is balanced, you become a clear antenna for the field. The paradox is this: most people are so accustomed to dysregulation, they no longer notice it. Stress feels normal. Rushing, multitasking, overthinking becomes what they call life. And yet this very state is why manifestation feels blocked. They are broadcasting static instead of signal. It's like trying to tune into a radio station while someone keeps spinning the dial. That is survival mode. No clear broadcast, no stable frequency, no reality fully locked in. But here is the gift. You were designed to reset. Every slow, conscious breath whispers safety to your body. Every time you place a hand on your heart and shift awareness from thoughts to feelings, coherence begins. And the moment the body feels safe, intuition grows louder. Fear no longer masquerades as guidance. The true signal emerges. This is not abstract. Research shows even a few minutes of heart-focused breathing increase coherence, strengthen intuition, and sharpen decision-making. Dr. Joe Dispenza's meditations are filled with techniques to regulate the body so the mind can broadcast a pure signal. Because the nervous system is the gatekeeper. When scattered, manifestation feels like effort. When calm, manifestation feels like flow. So the next time your chest tightens, your breath shortens, your thoughts spiral, remember, this is not merely stress. It is a moment of misalignment with the field. And in that moment, you have the power to reset the antenna. Slow down, breathe, feel. For the quantum listens not to your words, but to your state. And when the signal clears, something extraordinary begins. Synchronicity. Those magical alignments that feel too precise to be coincidence are not accidents. They are feedback loops. The field is speaking back to you, showing you how well your antenna is tuned. Have you noticed? In flow, life feels orchestrated. You think of a friend, and they call. You wonder about a solution, and the right book finds you. You set an intention, and the opportunity arrives, almost impossibly timed. These are synchronicities, the universe whispering, yes, you are aligned. Carl Jung called them meaningful coincidences. Quantum research takes it further. Just as particles respond to observation, your reality responds to coherence. When your nervous system is balanced, when heart and brain move in harmony, your electromagnetic field becomes ordered, and ordered systems resonate with other ordered systems. That is why in coherence, you begin to click into timelines where everything feels divinely arranged. It is not luck, it is resonance. Think of it again as tuning the radio. If the dial is even slightly off, the sound is noisy, distorted, fragmented, just as most people manifest fragments of desire, tangled with contradiction. But tune in precisely, and the song becomes clear, vibrant, undeniable. That is synchronicity, the field showing you are tuned in. Dr. Joe Dispenza often says synchronicities are signs of becoming supernatural, not because you escape nature, but because you are finally aligned with its deepest laws. Thousands in his workshops report this. Once they regulate their nervous system, focus on the vision of their future self, synchronicities multiply. Repeating numbers, chance meetings that shift destinies, being in the right place at the right time again and again. The field organizes itself to mirror the order within. But here is the deeper layer. Synchronicities are not just signs. They are invitations. Invitations to trust more deeply. And this is where many falter. At the first signs, they feel awe. But then the rational mind interrupts. Maybe it's just coincidence. Maybe I imagined it. That doubt itself becomes part of the signal. The field mirrors hesitation as easily as clarity. And so synchronicities fade, not because the universe stops speaking, but because the antenna slipped back into incoherence. The key is to treat them not as luck, but as dialogue. Imagine learning a new language, and suddenly the world begins speaking it back to you. That is synchronicity. Each event a word, a phrase, a sentence in the ongoing conversation between you and the quantum. The more you listen, the more fluent you become. When you ignore synchronicity, the whisper fades. But when you honor it, the dialogue with the universe deepens. Here is a practice you can try for just 1 week. Keep a synchronicity journal. Each time something happens that feels like more than coincidence, write it down. A chance encounter, a repeating number, a dream that spills into waking life. At the end of the week, look back at the pages. You will notice that these moments are not random at all. They gather around times when you felt most open, most trusting, most aligned with life. This simple act of reflection begins to retrain your nervous system to expect coherence. And what you expect, you begin to resonate with. Even quantum physics reflects this truth. In nonlinear dynamics, tiny shifts can create vast ripples. The butterfly effect. Your inner coherence may seem small, but it sends waves into the field that organize reality in ways far beyond your conscious control. And as you track these ripples, you start to see a pattern. Spirals, fractals, the hidden geometry of alignment. Synchronicity is the universe revealing the shape of your resonance. But here's the secret. The magic is not in the event itself. Seeing 1111 is not the miracle. Meeting someone unexpectedly is not the miracle. The miracle is the reflection, the proof that your vibration is in active dialogue with reality itself. When you realize this, you stop chasing synchronicities as signs to cling to, and instead you use them as feedback, an invitation to root even deeper into trust, into coherence, into the version of you that already exists in the field. So the next time synchronicities flood your path, pause, breathe, recognize. This is feedback. I am tuned in. And the more you acknowledge the signal, the stronger it becomes, until eventually your entire life reorganizes itself around that resonance. Take a deep breath and anchor this truth now. Write in the comments, I am the signal, because in the next step, we will enter the mystery of silence. What happens when the synchronicities stop? Most people panic, thinking the magic is gone. But in truth, that pause is one of the most powerful thresholds in the process, a hidden doorway into your next quantum leap. If synchronicities are the language of the universe, then what does it mean when that language suddenly falls silent? For many, this is a familiar moment. Everything was flowing. The signs were constant. And then, emptiness. No numbers. No chance encounters. No cosmic winks. At first, fear arises. Did I lose the connection? Did I make a mistake? Did the universe abandon me? But silence is not absence. It is the pause between breaths, the rest in music that makes the melody possible. When synchronicities disappear, it is not punishment, it is initiation. Quantum mechanics offers a clue. A particle exists in superposition, many states at once, until observation collapses it into a single reality. Synchronicities are like that flicker, giving you glimpses of many possibilities aligning. But once you have stabilized into a new frequency, the flicker fades. The system no longer needs to keep sending signals. You have already collapsed into the reality. The silence is confirmation. The field has heard you, aligned with you, and is now waiting for you to trust. This is where most people sabotage themselves. They confuse silence with disconnection. Instead of trusting, they begin doubting. Instead of holding their vibration steady, they slip back into fear, anxiety, control. And that very shift pulls them out of coherence, creating the illusion that the magic is gone. But the truth is, the magic was never gone. The silence itself was the test. Could you hold the frequency without constant reassurance? Could you trust the process when the feedback isn't loud? This is where mastery begins. Dr. Joe Dispenza says, "The moment you trust the unknown, you step into the quantum." And that is exactly what silence is asking of you. Are you creating because of external validation, or because you have become the vibration itself? If your sense of power depends on signs, then you are still giving your authority away. But when you can embody trust in the absence of signs, you become unshakable. That is when manifestation stops being fragile hope and becomes undeniable reality. It is like learning to ride a bicycle. At first, you need training wheels. Those training wheels are synchronicities. They show you you're moving in the right direction. But eventually, the training wheels must come off. The wobble feels terrifying, but it is the only way to discover balance within yourself. Silence is the field removing the training wheels, asking you to embody stability without needing proof. And here is the paradox. The moment you relax into that silence, synchronicities return, but now at a higher octave. No longer as small reassurances, but as orchestrated events that shift your entire reality. Meeting the person who alters your destiny, receiving opportunities once impossible, stepping into timelines that feel inevitable. The silence was never absence. It was gestation. A seed does not sprout the day it is planted. It lives unseen in darkness, until suddenly it bursts forth with undeniable life. Even neuroscience reflects this. The brain is wired to seek patterns. When synchronicities first appear, your brain lights up, scanning reality for confirmation. It amplifies the sense of magic. But eventually the brain adapts, and those same signs feel less vivid, not because they disappeared, but because you integrated them. The real work then is no longer chasing novelty outside. It is cultivating stability inside. So when synchronicities seem to stop, reframe the silence. Do not think the magic has left. Affirm instead, the silence is proof the shift is stabilizing. The field is inviting you to graduate from dependence into mastery. If you can hold your vibration steady without needing signs, you unlock a deeper power. Your state is no longer conditional. It is sovereign. And from sovereignty, manifestation flows naturally, inevitably, effortlessly. This is not the end of synchronicity. It is its evolution. In silence, you are stretched. In silence, you are reminded. The power was never in the signs. The power has always been in you. And when you step through that doorway, you discover the highest secret of quantum manifestation. It was never about chasing signs. It was always about becoming the signal. Because coherence is the real miracle. When your thoughts, emotions, and body move in harmony, you stop searching for proof and start radiating frequency. Science calls it resonance. Spirituality calls it embodiment. The effect is the same. You become the anchor that shapes reality around you. Imagine walking into a room with this state. You say nothing, and yet people feel it. They feel drawn, softened, opened, because your heart is broadcasting a coherent field that reorganizes matter itself. At this level, synchronicities return, but they feel different. No longer like fragile signs to chase, but but like the only natural outcome. Life stops looking random and starts feeling inevitable. This is the graduation. You are no longer the seeker, you are the signal. Every breath, every choice, every step becomes synchronicity in motion. You don't wonder if the universe has heard you. You know because you are the broadcast itself. So anchor this truth, close your eyes, breathe, whisper within. I am not waiting for signs, I am the signal. Feel the steadiness of that vibration, let it settle into your nervous system, because this frequency is enough to change everything. The universe does not respond to effort, it responds to resonance. Synchronicities may guide you, silence may stretch you, but in the end, the power is not outside of you. It has always been within. You don't have to chase reality anymore. You are reality. You are frequency. You are the signal. And when you embody that truth, life itself becomes a constant unfolding of miracles. Remember this, you were never waiting for synchronicity. Synchronicity was waiting for you. You no longer need to chase signs or wait for proof. The shift has already anchored itself in you. Every breath you take is already vibrating in the new frequency. To embody this truth, leave a simple declaration in the comments, I am the frequency. Let it echo back to you as a reminder that you don't become it someday, you already are. And if this resonance feels like home, subscribe, not for more information, but for alignment. Each time you return, you'll remember more of what you already carry within.